Reading from John chapter 15. No, I still said it wrong. John chapter 14. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't read right. John chapter 14. There we go. Now I'm on the right place. Beginning at verse 6. John chapter 14, verse 6 is where we'll be picking up. Jesus here has told them not to have their hearts troubled, to believe in Him. You believe in God, believe in me. Told them about heaven a little bit. And Thomas said unto him, We know not where thou goest, and how can we know the way? And Jesus is responding to that very question. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. If ye know me, ye should know my Father also. And from henceforth ye shall know him, and have seen him. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth thee. And Jesus said unto him, Have I been so long with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, Show us the Father? Believe thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, and He doth the work. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he also do, and greater works greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye ask in my name, that I will do, and the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. Father, we ask you, bless the reading of the word. Help this morning to lift out what you've given. Help us to honor and to glorify you, for we ask this all in Jesus' precious name. Amen. I know that verse 15 starts off another whole section there. But all that plays in to every part that Jesus has said. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. The first and foremost of all Jesus said is, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. People today are asking, why don't we see God moving? Let's go back to that verse 15. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. God does not work. Let me rephrase that. God works despite evil. He does. God still works despite evil, but his most effective works are done when we keep his commandment. Jesus here was giving his disciples an understanding. He was giving them an understanding and saying, Philip, have I been so long with you? And you say, show me the Father? How many of us are like Philip? God, show us the Father. God, show yourself to us. And God's going, I've already given you the examples. What are you doing? Wake up. Jesus here was standing before the disciples and he goes, Philip, have you been so long with me and seen me and not seen the Father? Because of my life, you see the Father. Jesus here was giving us an understanding that as we live for God, truly live for God, not just by mouth only, but by living for God in every part of our life, by wanting God's will and done in all of our life and following his commands, God reveals himself. Have I been so long with you, yet ye hath not, and yet hath thou not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. Jesus here was giving an example unto his disciples saying, hey, wake up, I'm with you. Pay attention. As the old saying says, familiarity breeds contempt. They had been so long with Jesus by this point that they had begun to not notice who Jesus was. They had become so familiar with it that they're like, oh, we need something new. Wait a minute. Did what happened before work? Yep. What were they doing in the old? Showing love. I keep hearing this statement among multiple works. We need to find a fresh we need to find a fresh way of reaching people. No, we don't. We just need to put into practice the very things that God has taught us. That's a side note, by the way. That was for free. No, just kidding. But it's true. If we just go back to doing what has been already taught for years by Jesus himself, we can reach people for Christ. If you have seen me, are we living so close to God that his reflection is shining so deeply in us they can't tell a difference? That's a question to put forth. Are we living so close to God that if someone makes a statement, wow, I can see God in you. The statement was made to me the other day about someone. They says, they're a Christian, aren't they? Yeah. How'd you tell? Because of their life. Because of their life. It smote my heart. Lord, has my reflection been dulled? It's been on my mind ever since. Lord, has my reflection become so dulled that people don't see Christ in me? I hope not. I hope that's not the case. But again, that familiarity breeds contempt. Maybe people have known me too well. Lord, help me to change it up so they see you again. Is my words become so dull to them that my words mean nothing anymore? Have they been sitting so long in their services that the words of God are not even penetrating their heart anymore? Have we become so dead in our lives that we don't see the Father anymore? Just as Philip had lost sight of who Jesus was, Jesus had to remind them and kind of do the little face slap. Whack, whack, wake up, Philip. I'm here. Sometimes we need that wake-up slap to go, hey, I'm here. But Jesus said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. One of Jesus' own apostles wrote, if you love him, you'll keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. An old preacher once made the statement to one of his parishioners. They'd just made the statement, oh, it is so hard to keep the 10 Commandments. The preacher very quietly but yet strongly said, because you're not in love with the Creator. But Pastor, I'm a Christian. No, you're not. Was his response. No, you're not. Because if you truly love the Father, you would love his commandments. We forgot how to love this. A young preacher just recently made the statement, and it's so true. We have fallen out of love with God and fallen in love with ourself. And who is self? Satan. That's the truth. Self is nothing about truly, I'm nothing. You see, if we love God, we're going to keep His commandments. If we love God, we're going to follow what He says. If we love God, we're going to be willing to take a step forward. I use this example quite a few times, but yet it's so true. There's certain things I don't do because my wife doesn't care for them. And you know what? It's not grievous. I don't have any struggle with it being grievous. Yes, I try to do it so it doesn't get her irritated with me. But it's not grievous to me. Oh, I can't say that because my wife. No. Why? Because I love her. That's the same idea that Jesus is giving here. If you love me, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be grievous. It's not going to be anything. You're going to go, okay, I'll do it, Lord. If you got to stop and make excuses for the very things you're doing, it's grievous. It means you're doing it and it's grievous to you. Therefore, dare I say it, the love of God is not in you. Yes, I dare say it. And I'll say it again. If the commands of God are grievous to you, you are not a Christian. By those very statements right there. If you love me, keep my commandments. It doesn't say if your friends agree with it. It doesn't say if your nation is okay with it. It doesn't say if your husband or wife is okay with it. It doesn't say if my kids are okay with it, No. If my spouse, mention that. If my neighbor's okay with No, doesn't say that either. If you love me, keep my commandments. Now, am I preaching to people that know this? Yes. Do we need to be reminded of it? Yep. You see, Jesus didn't just say it there. Let's look in the next chapter, verse 10. If you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in His love. That's John 15, verse 10. Jesus repeated it yet again. Keeping the commandments. Verse 12. And this is the commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Commandments, commandments, commandments. We're seeing this pattern through this whole 2 chapters here. Preaching, the commandments, love, commandments. You see, I can love an individual and not like what they're doing. I can. The other day, our niece was acting up. And I was refusing to give in because what she was doing was wrong. I made the statement, you're not getting down until you apologize. She kept fighting and struggling against it. Finally, she figured out Uncle Kevin was not going to let her down. I said, you're going to apologize. Did that mean I hated her? No. My love said, you're going to learn to obey. For the record, the last time that my wife saw her, that certain girl, she was the first one. Where's Uncle Kevin? Why does she care about where Uncle Kevin is? She knows that I love her. Then why is it people want to sit there and go, well, God doesn't love me because He has all these commandments? No, He has them because He loves you. Love. It comes with commandments. It comes with honor. It comes with obedience. It comes with love. True love says, I want the best for you. Jesus said, "For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." God loved us so much, he sent Jesus to die in our place so we could have redemption, not separation. But with that love, whether we like it or not, love is conditional. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. It's conditional. If you love me. If we truly love one another, we're going to do what's best. If we truly love one another, we're going to do our best to follow. If we truly love God, let's put this in the very spectrum. You see, it goes back to those 10 commandments, does it not? Love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and spirit. And the second is likened to it, love your neighbor as yourself. It all starts with God. Loving God is the very key and the foundation of being a Christian. Loving God is the key. It's the foundation stone. Loving your neighbor is the other one. Upon all these two hold all the law and the prophets. The love of God and the love of neighbor. I've heard many times people make the statement, well, they're my neighbor, so I don't have to love them. Whatever. I bring up the very statement, and I just did it a couple weeks ago. Who's your neighbor? What do you mean? Well, it's the one who living next to me. I said, no. According to Jesus, who's your neighbor? Anyone you're around. The person asked me, they said, well, what do you mean? I says, the man that fell into the thieves and robbers, who did Jesus say was his neighbor? Okay, Kevin, you got your point. I'm like, Someone he didn't even know. Someone that they actually hated. He was a Samaritan. The Jewish people hated them. But yet the Samaritan is the one that picked him up off the road. Carried him. Paid for his care. Paid and promised to pay if there was more expenses. That's being a neighbor. Love. He had compassion. That is what Jesus is giving us when he said, love God, love your neighbor. Those are the two keys. Those are the very keys that hold a Christian people together. Loving. But it doesn't mean I'm going to let you trample all over me, right? Correct. It doesn't mean that I'm going to let others step on me. No. It says I'm going to love you, and love says I'm going to hold you accountable for your actions. I had one individual tell me one time, that's unbiblical. I said, no, it's not. God said, I have the book of judgment. He's holding us accountable. We are going to be held accountable for our actions. What are we going to do? Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. That's true love. Now, did I read those? No. I thought about putting them in, and then I was going to not to, and then I threw them back in for the fun of it. Because they all tie together. If you love me, you keep my commandments. My commandments. And this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Jesus showed such love to his people. Jesus showed such love to every person. He didn't single them out just because of their status, their social status, their marital status, their life status. No. He didn't even single them out if they were lepers. He cared about all. He loved. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. Oh, look, there it is again. repeated in very few verses. Why is this important for us to constantly keep in our mind? Lord, help us to show love despite the hatred in our world. Despite the hatred in our world, to show love, but to show strength. Yes, I love you, but you're sinning. Yes, I love you, but that's not the way to live. Yes, I love you, but that's the wrong attitude. Yes, I love you, but that's still wrong. Our love has to shine out. May we as people of God show love. May we do as Jesus gave us the greatest example, to love despite having to hold the ground. To not hold ground and be like the old codgers that they would call them. The old codgers. Get off my land. No, that's not what God, and that's not what Jesus, that's not the attitude. Love them, but love them with strength, with correction. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. If you keep my commandments. That's the key. Keeping God's commandments. Are we following through with what God has asked us to do in keeping his commandments? Shall we stand? Father, as we come before you this day, we're so thankful for your love and mercy. Lord, this has been a little bit of a rough message, as you know. But yet, Lord, it's been so key for all of us. You see, we live in a world that's full of sin, full of heartache, full of hatred. We've just came through a time when we're supposed to be celebrating our freedom, but Lord, we are not truly free because we have allowed ourselves to become bound to Satan and his actions and the host of evil that have brought hatred into our world and are emphasizing it. Lord, help us to show love despite you maybe having to show firm actions, but Lord, help us to show love despite what's going on, to remind them that yes, we care about them. Because as that old saying says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Lord, help us each as individuals to show your love. And Lord, if there's anything in our heart that is not showing love, that we would come before you and say, Lord, I'm sorry. Help me to be more loving. Help me to be bold and take the stand, but to be strong and to show love at the same time. Father, help each one of us to open our hearts and to know where we stand before you. And Lord, if we're not standing where we need to take that step toward you. Father, help each one of us to search our hearts this morning and make sure we're standing right where we need to be. Help each one of us to go out to share your love, to share your concern, to share to the world that needs you more than anything else. That we care about them. And that they're heading for a devil's hell. No matter who they are or where they stand. Help us to share your gospel of love and forgiveness with them. Lord, help us to be your examples to a world that needs you. For we ask this all in Jesus' precious name.